Do you have a book? Would you like for that book to be in bookstores? Well, if so, you're in luck because that's what we're talking about today on Lulu University, so sit tight. Getting your book into bookstores. We get this question all the time from our authors. How do I see my book on the shelves? So today we're going to dissect this a little bit and talk about some best practices and tips of how to get your book into your favorite bookstore. First up on getting your book into the bookstore of your dreams is your marketing plan. So it may not seem obvious why this is important, but we have a lot of videos on building your marketing plan and building your audience, so definitely check those out. At the end of the day, the bottom line for this one is that bookstores, large or small, need to know that your book will sell. So having a marketing plan that you've already been working on and some numbers to help relay that is going to be crucial in getting your book into bookstores. Next up is knowing how bookstores buy their books. So this will vary from large bookstores to small or independent to chain bookstores, but a good rule of thumb is the larger chain bookstores are going to buy from publishers or distributors directly, or they're going to buy from wholesalers like Ingram or Baker and Taylor. Independent bookstores will either buy directly or from wholesalers, or they will take books on consignment from the author. Now that we know how bookstores are buying their books, you've probably come to the conclusion that you should get on a wholesaler's list. So if you're using Lulu and you're printing through us, then you can enable global distribution and you're already listed in Ingram's catalog, which is a huge bonus because most bookstores will buy from Ingram's catalog, or that's the catalog they're looking to buy their books. Or if there are other wholesalers that you have your eye on, you can apply directly online for them to host your book. Great, now your book is listed in Wholesale. That's wonderful. But you might not want to wait around for your book to be discovered and ordered into bookstores. So, for example, Barnes & Noble, you can send your book to them directly to be considered to be added to their shelves. So what you'll want to do is do some research here and see their submission guidelines. But basically what you'll need to do is send a completed copy of the book, so no manuscripts, no flash drives, or anything like that. You'll also want to send a copy of your marketing and promotional material. So as you may have noticed, we mentioned that a little bit earlier. You'll also want to send any reviews that you have, and then what makes your book unique? So how is it standing out in the market? So all of this is going to paint a really nice picture of your book for them, and then its likelihood to sell, which is, of course, as we mentioned, is very important when you're trying to get into bookstores. Barnes & Noble gets submissions all the time. There are a ton of authors always trying to get their books on the shelves of Barnes & Noble. So if you don't feel like waiting through that list to see if your book is accepted, there are some other options available to you. So obviously at Lulu, we love independent bookstores and local bookstores, and sometimes those are your best bet for getting immediate exposure and acceptance for your book into bookstores. The first point that we have here, it may seem kind of scary, or it may seem sort of maybe even obvious to you, but cold calling, just pick up the phone. Hello, local bookstore, I'm Joe Local, and I have a book for you. They love that sometimes. So a lot of times, local bookstores will just really want to support the local community and their local authors, and they may accept your book right based on that cold call. If cold calling isn't working for you, then a really good idea is to make appointments with your local bookstores to be able to come in and talk to them, make those face-to-face connections, and there's a couple things you'll definitely want to bring with you if you go this route. So you'll want to bring copies of your book, your marketing and promotional materials, and a sell sheet. And your sell sheet is really important because this can act like a flyer that has all the relevant information that the bookstore owner will need to make a decision about hosting your book. So this should include things like your author, title, category, ISBN, your cover photo, and a couple other things that are going to have all the information they'll need to make a decision. Most importantly, your sell sheet should demonstrate sales that you've made, so kind of obvious in the name. But what you want to do is convince the bookstore or show them that you have a proven track record of sales, so be sure to include that information on your sell sheet. All right, you're in the bookstore, you have your sell sheet, you're proving your track record. So that's great, but there's a couple things you want to be aware of while you're there, specifically the questions that you might get in return. So a few questions you want to be prepared for are, is the book returnable? What discounts are you offering? Are there events that you can host in the store to bring in traffic? Can you write an article or any content for their newsletter? So these are all things you want to be thinking about and have answers prepared for in the event that you get asked these questions. So the ideal scenario is that the bookstore owner is running to the phone immediately or jumping on their computer to order your book from wholesalers. But there is a chance that they may still be a little hesitant after they've heard everything you have to say. So if that's the case, then another option for you is selling your book on consignment to the bookstore. So the way that this works is that you buy the copies of the book and you provide them to the bookstore, and then you get paid as the books are sold. So in this model, you will have to foot the bill for the books initially and then make the money back as the books sell. As you're going through this process, it's important to keep in mind the goals of the bookstores. And whether it's independent or a chain, their goals are going to be getting books that their patrons are going to enjoy, increasing sales for their location, or increasing traffic to their location. So keep these things in mind as you develop your plan for approaching these stores. If the conversation isn't going the way you want it to and the bookstore isn't really convinced to put your book on the shelf at that time, that is okay. That doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination that it's over. Continue marketing your book and getting it out there, and as you get reviews and publicity for it, follow up with the bookstore and let them know, and that may be the information they need to change their mind and accept your title. If option number 1 and option number 2 aren't working for you, then we do have a third option. So behind door number 3 are services that are available to independent authors to help you get your book into bookstores. One of those specifically is called Dart Frog. So the way that Dart Frog works is that you will submit your book to them, and after they review and accept it, it'll be available to their network of independent bookstores all across the country. Remember that the most important thing that these bookstores are going to be looking for, and that's large or small, is your proven track record of sales. So if you don't have that yet, then go ahead and check out some of our other videos on marketing and author branding so you can fill that sales sheet out with something impressive to show these bookstores. If you like this video, then be sure to hit subscribe, and we will see you next time.